Hey, welcome to Dustin's Garage. We've got our 1960 Beetle that we're pulling the engine out of. Apparently it's the easiest engine that there is to get out, so I've got a spare hour, so I figured we'll have a go and see just how easy it is. So this is the car, and I've already popped it up on the hoist so we can get underneath it, but yeah, it should be fairly simple. We're going to come in here and remove all the electrical wiring, remove the carb linkage for the choke or cable for the choke and cable for the accelerator, and remove this pan around the back here, and then we should be getting into something, hopefully. Maybe take that air cleaner off, get that out of the road. So I'll do those few things, and then we'll get underneath and take some stuff off under there. Like I say, I've never pulled one of these out before, and I've just come across this odd little guy. It's actually part of the linkage, but it's got a nice screw in the middle of it holding it in. So I imagine that should come out. Oh yeah, that will too, and it just fell on the ground. So that just slides out, just like that. And then there's a little clip that holds this big spring thing on, which is now on the ground. I imagine that's probably going to fall out of there, just like that. Don't lose that bit. It looks like you wouldn't find another one on your shelf in a hurry. So that's the little clip I just dropped on the ground off the accelerator cable. That holds this onto the cable over the spring, and obviously clips on behind the piece on the end there. So that stops you from getting stuck on full throttle, I guess, which is, always handy. So we've got all that stuff off, and apparently now down in here somewhere are a couple of bellhousing bolts. Oh yeah, they're there, and there's one on the other side apparently, so we'll take those out, get them out of the road, and then we'll go up in the air, see what's up on the other side. So we've got those couple of bolts out easy, although no one mentioned that they're nut and bolt, so there's a bolt floating around. I don't know how easy they're going to be to get back in, but I guess millions of people have done it before, so it can't be that hard. We'll put it up in the air and see what we need to take off underneath to get it out, because it looks like that's about it for the top, but we'll see. So as you can see, there may be an oil leak or two under here, which is one of the things we're trying to get rid of, especially the one out of the gearbox, but that's just out of this boot here by the looks of it. But we'll see. It's got a big tear in it, and there was a lot of oil running out of it after I put it up in the air in a giant pool underneath it, which you should be able to see now. That was what was under the car when I pushed it back over here to put it up on the hoist. So we've got to disconnect these heater tubes, because this is a fairly old one, so we'll take those off. You can see that's the accelerator cable there, so we'll slide that out, and the choke cable. The fuel line's got to come off. The cable here for the heater control, there's one of those on either side, they've got to come off. Same with the heater tubes on either side. And then a couple of nuts on the bell housing, and we should be all go. So I'll whip that stuff off, and we'll see. So we got everything out, and it's all loose. You can see the gap opening up there between the crankcase, I guess you'd call it, the bell housing and the gearbox. And anything I'd realised now why the heater didn't work. The pipe's kind of fallen to pieces, and where the air feed goes into the heat exchanger, there's a big hole where it's come to pieces, and I'm guessing it's supposed to have a bolt and a nut probably holding that in, and the other side is exactly the same. So yeah, the heater was rubbish. That's probably why. although this side does have a good tube on it. Someone's replaced that, but hasn't fixed this part up. So we'll probably have a look at that while it's out. So as you can see, we've got the engine on a jack now. The helpful dog's just having a look under there to make sure everything's okay. And it's starting to come away, and it all should just be really easy. Except that the reason the tops of those exhausts don't line up with the bottom, look out dog, is that they're bent and they're hitting on there. So I might just have to give it a little bit of a massage to gently wiggle it under that so we can get the engine the rest of the way up. But we'll see. Won't be too hard, I wouldn't imagine. Everything else seems to be clearing. It's just stuck on that exhaust, so we'll give it a wiggle. It'll come out. So we've now got both of our exhausts past the back of the body, and the gearbox and engine are now detached. As you can see down there. So now all we really need to do, hopefully, is let it down and maybe lift the car up, and she should all come out. We'll see. Don't know how much of this you'll be able to hear well, because it's just started raining quite heavily here. But turns out it's also a good idea to undo the fuel line, so we'll undo that, and then we'll let the engine the rest of the way down. Now I've just popped a bolt in the end of that hose to stop any leaks, but looking at it, it could probably use replacing as well. It's starting to split on the end there, and yeah, good thing we caught that when we did, save bending anything. But that is why you drop a little bit and check, and drop a bit more and check, not just let the jack off at full speed and wait and see what happens. So we'll get it the rest of the way out, have a look. So that's our engine all the way down, and everything disconnected, so we'll just put the hoist up, see what we get. Good to see the dogs being helpful as ever. And there's our massive 1200cc Volkswagen engine. And there's the exhausts that were causing us problems. And the cooling system, and the clutch, flywheel. So we're obviously going to have to do something with those exhausts, because for a start they've been welded at the bottom and they're bolted onto the back of the cylinder head and the front of the cylinder head. So being that it's all welded together, it's actually impossible to take it off. So I'll have to find out how they're supposed to go from factory and do some repairs on that before it goes back in. But as for the rest of it, probably just going to fix the oil leaks on this and put it all back together, because it actually runs really well. It's the gearbox and its massive oil leak and its noises that are the concern. So the next thing we'll see is the gearbox coming out of this and getting pulled apart. Cheers.